Hello, and welcome to Coming in Hot with Abby Baird. I am so excited to have this conversation today. We are going to be talking about entrepreneurship, how that looks like at a young age, or whether you already have a business or you're starting an age deep into your career, and then just in general talking about chasing your dreams. There's never a right or wrong way or time to do it. Coming in Hot is all about talking about the next generation of supply chain and the incoming generation of supply chain, no matter how you get involved in that. And I'm excited to have this conversation because I think entrepreneurship is so important and it's so cool to watch people chase their dreams. But supply chain is a huge part of that and understanding that and also overcoming obstacles and challenges. But my name is Abby. I am so fortunate to host the show. I am a senior supply chain management and Spanish major at the University of Arkansas. And like I said, I'm so excited to talk about chasing your dreams, what that looks like, whether that be entrepreneurship or not. So I am so excited to bring on one of my very best friends who's someone she's incredible. So I'm going to let her do her own introduction, but let's welcome Julia Capiello.
Hey,
y'all. How are you?
I am so good, Abby. It's so good to see you.
It is so good to see you. Julia and I have known each other for over 15 years, like forever. And it's so fun to see our little worlds intertwined. But Julia, how about you introduce yourself? Tell us all about who you are, your business, your background, the whole shebang.
Yeah. So I'm Julia Cappiello. I am a senior marketing major at Clemson University, and I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. I love Clemson. I'm excited to graduate and get into the real world. It can be really scary. I also own a jewelry business, and I've owned it since I was 16. So a hot minute now. I'm 21 years old, and it has been awesome. I love being an entrepreneur. I love being my own boss and just like everything that comes with it.
Oh, I love it. I mean, I think it's amazing that you just started a business and are already pursuing that because it's really hard to start a business. And I think I'm just really proud of you and impressed by you for the fact that you're doing this. But I think no matter where you are, like in your career journey, whether you started your business at 16, you're starting it at 30, starting it at 62, it doesn't really matter. I think anyone who's willing to go through those challenges and experience the fruitfulness of that and learn from it is amazing. And so I also think I'm so excited to have you here because obviously I'm a college student, but it's fun to have another college perspective on this show because I think so many people can learn from our perspective and grow from it, just the way that we grow from hearing people who are older than younger than us. But Julia, I have so many questions to ask you, so many things. So you said you started your business when you're 16. So cool. So what things have you already, I think that's 5 years now.
I can give you a timeline.
I was give us a timeline. What have you learned? What has that looked like? Let us know.
For sure. So I went to the biggest high school in South Carolina. So we had a lot of opportunities in my high school. And one of my opportunities I got to do was we got to have a major like you do in college. So in high school, I majored in art and business. And so I got to take a bunch of different business classes. And so I've never changed my major at Clemson because I've gotten to take I took a management class, an entrepreneurship class, an accounting class, in high school. So when I came to Clemson, I knew I wanted to be marketing. But I took an entrepreneurship class, and in this class, we were supposed to create a business plan, and you could make any business. People did lawn care, and I ended up doing a jewelry business, and it was supposed to be a hypothetical business, and you just created a business plan, and we competed it. So we competed it in our class, and then we competed it regionally, competed it on the state level. And so at my school, I won first place. And then I competed in the regional level with 2 or 3 other students from my high school. And then I placed in the top 3 regionally. And then I went to state And then at state, my teacher at the time was like, Julia, like, you should create like an actual jewelry business. Like, that'd be awesome. Like, I know that you're super creative. I've always been super creative girl. Abby knows I love all kinds of creativeness. And so I was super excited to do so. So I just created a couple of things, made like a little booth. Like, I like can picture like my first like ever pop-up show situation was at this event, and like I got to sell pieces that like I was like super excited to sell. Like, it was just so exciting. And then I placed in the top 5 for the state level, which is really, really awesome. I did not compete nationally, but anyways, when I competed all these different times, I like received money. So like whenever you placed a certain like place, you received money to like help like start your startup. So I like had a couple $100s to like start this startup of a jewelry business. And so I just like went with it. And I just first started like selling to my friends at my high school. And then I started selling on Etsy. If y'all know what that is, it is like a platform for like creatives to sell their jewelry or anything. People knit, people do everything on there. And so yeah, I first started there, and then I made an Instagram, and it honestly blew up. But until I came to college is when it really, really blew up. And especially this like past year, I think I've always just taken it as like a little side hobby, but I just never took it like as seriously as I could. My friends were like, Joy, like your jewelry is like so beautiful, like you should like really take this seriously. And so like took it more seriously, especially like the classes I've been taking. Like, I learned how to market myself in college and like market myself as a brand and as well as jewelry business, and like had that alongside me and how to market it. And now I can say that I've been learning how to wholesale, which has been really interesting. And yeah, here's my website. And so I learned how to wholesale, and now I can sell like wholesale to different boutiques and stuff. And so I think I'm in about 10 stores across the nation. A lot are in Texas, which is really fun. I really want to go to Texas and go like visit them and like see my jewelry in like person. But I have some in Clemson boutiques and in Charleston and Texas and Indiana. Like, it has been everywhere, and that has like been one of my biggest accomplishments. But on the flip side of that, it is really challenging taking like 18 hours of classes plus trying to like run a jewelry business at the same time and like create pieces that I like love. Like, I'm not going to sell something that I'm not like in like love with. And like eventually I do want to like see if I could take like Jewelry Grace Jewelry and make it Julia Grace and like make like an online boutique of it of some kind. But yeah, that was a whole spiel of all my hopes and dreams.
Oh my gosh, so good. I mean, I love hearing about that. I know the audience loved hearing about that. If you're joining us today in the audience, make sure you comment where you're from. If there's any questions you have, what you'd like to hear from either Julia or I, AJ, Sarah, Ebenezer, we're all so happy that you're here and that we get to have this conversation with you. So make sure everyone comment where you're from. Let us know what questions you have. Yeah, definitely make sure you check out Hey Sarah. I was like, I agree. I think Julia, I mean, just the way like you talked about it, I think this next generation and us like entering this business space is like, I just think we are bringing this new set of qualities and characteristics that are like, allowing us to be bold in the way we pursue our business. And I mean, the way you just talked about it in general is like, I mean, and I think this is a huge point of like having mentorship and people pouring into us is that you had this in high school and a teacher was like, no, like you need to do this, you need to pour into this. And it could definitely be something. So like what has been the role of like mentorship or like leadership, like as being like an entrepreneur and someone like who chases their dreams, like at a young age?
I have had a lot of mentors in my life. The one like the beginning when I talked about was my like teacher, Mr. Fralix, and he was the one that initially poured into me and told me like all of high school. Like I guess I was a sophomore at this age, and like he mentored me like all of my years of high school, like in the business side of it, because like a lot of the classes I took in high school were like very surface level, but he was like, Julie, like this is where you can go next, and like gave me a lot of like next steps for my business, which is really, really awesome. I've had a lot of personal mentors as well, and just like they like try to pour into me like personally as well, but also like Julia, like you have this side business that it would be awesome for you to like push, like they just like pushed me as well, like personally as well as on my business. This past school year I worked with the College of Business at Clemson, and I worked with like alumni relations, and my mentor with that was like awesome. Her name was Dell, and she like never really like knew I had a jewelry business for like a couple months, and then she like learned about it and she was like, Julie, like this is awesome. Like she would like call me all the time, and like she was just mentoring me just in like my internship I was doing with her, but also like she like saw the potential in my business, and she just really pushed me, which was really really awesome. And I think that's what like pushed me to like want to like go bigger with it. Like Jewelry Grace Jewelry, like if I wanted to, I could keep it as a side business as it is, but like I like want to see it grow. Like I want to see like my name and my brand just like skyrocket.
I love it. Michael just said that he loves to see that we have business role model for younger people, and I think you are like such a good role model for people who like want to achieve, like who like you just said, like you see your business growing and evolving, and I think you are such a good role model for people who want to chase their dreams and to like pursue that thing, whether that be entrepreneurship or position or a certain function. Like you are such a good role model for people. And I know one thing um, is that you've already spoken of all these things that you've accomplished and things that you're really, really proud of. I'd love to know, like, what are some ways that you've achieved them, and how do you plan to achieve your future goals as well?
Mm-hmm. I guess I've achieved like a huge thing I wanted to do was like one day like sell Jewelry Grace Jewelry like not online, like be able to like go in a store and see like for Candace Scott, for example, like I want to be her, or like I want to be like, I think just like having like y'all are seeing me as a role model, and like me as a role model for these younger kids. Like I have those role models in like my industry as well, and so that is like a huge way. Is like I want to be there, and so like practical steps I've like done so is like the the whole like business of wholesaling is kind of like it's hard to look into. Like if you like try to look up stuff online, like the pricing sector of it, or like how do you even like send people your line sheet, like it's kind of hush hush online. Like people like really don't want to tell you their secrets, and so like a lot of it is like having to like deep down like research, and it's like okay, like your wholesale price is XYZ, and this is the formula of how you do it, and like don't forget about your time that you're putting into these pieces as well. Like people like also I think forget about like your time is money for sure, and like the time I'm putting into this is like all precious. um a huge thing like in my mind, I think like this like owning a business is not a 9 to 5, and so like I have to like make sure like at all times like I'm ready to like talk about it and like market myself. I think for a long time like I was really scared to like like people are gonna be like, oh, like you sell jewelry, like what do you like. I think if y'all are on TikTok at all, but like there's like a TikTok trend like, oh, like
Oh, we
you sell.
Let's Talk Supply Chain love TikTok. Make sure you
We love
follow.
TikTok, but if you're on TikTok, like trend, it's like oh, sell jewelry, and they're selling like friendship bracelets and things like that. It's like no, like I like practice this free, and like I try like the best material as I can, and like I I try to take on trends. Like it's like it's scary. Like marketing yourself can be really really scary, and I guess like other practical steps I've taken is like I know like the power of like social media, and so like marketing myself on there, and like changing as you saw like we saw earlier, like I am not an Etsy anymore. Like Etsy is great, but there are like challenges with that as well. Like the fees that are getting taken out, and like how like you might not be visible, and like the like full creative part of it. Like I can't like make my like website like how I want it to be on Etsy. So like I like knew that like a practical step I had to take was like take myself off of Etsy, and like I may not be getting those like customers that Etsy gave me, but like my customers are gonna follow me and like follow me to like my new website.
Yeah. I I mean, I love that. Sounds like you're being very strategic, which is awesome. And like, and I'm really proud that you're able to like reflect back. I think this is something we should all do, is like reflect back on our careers and where we've been and where we've going, and like learn from that and make sure we are growing and weighing the pros and cons. But Sarah actually asked an amazing question I was about to ask as well, because obviously you're a marketing major, but I was like, you're in supply chain company over here. So what have you experienced supply chain challenges? How has it been to like enter a business where you had to be aware of like this very broad supply chain since it is just you? And then additionally, how have you been able to like be mindful of the supply chain, whether that be like sustainably or like ethically? Like in what I was like, so yeah, how has it been to enter this business in this space and to be mindful of the supply chain with your with challenges and just overall experience?
I guess like a huge thing is that my business is a B2C business. And so I'm going directly to the to the customer and to the consumer. But like for me to get my supplies, like I have to go through the supply chain. And like that's like a huge challenge is like if something I like need to order like part of like of a piece of jewelry like has to come from China or like come from that like a huge like or just come from a different country, like a huge challenge is like knowing like the timing of that. And like I have to like if I have a wholesale order and like I have to like be very clear to like my like the boutique that's ordering from me, like it may take a couple weeks because I'm ordering more things in bulk and it might take a little bit of time and because of like the supply chain, especially with like COVID and like the changing of that as well, like my customers like me like mailing it to them is like taking more days because of like the pandemic, which has like been a huge like challenge like on the supply chain side of it. So I guess like on both sides, like supply chain just affects everything. And like Abby and I like because she loves supply chain, she loves talking to me about supply chain. And so I've learned a lot from her to like learn about like how the supply chain can affect me in my personal life and how it affects me in my business as well. So it affects my customers and it challenges me with them because I had to be clear that like I hope that things come in like 3 to 5 days, but it may not. And like that's the supply chain. And like also on the other side, like for me to like get my like materials in time, like something might be out of stock for longer because of the supply chain. So that's a huge challenge as well. It's like a way that I have to combat that is being like clear and concise to like both sides.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I mean, you said it, the supply chain affects everything, the whole world around us. We need it. And so it's very interesting to see you talk about it because I mean, you are in like the heat of it, like having your own small business, having to be there for every single step and every single part of it. Emmanuel, he said he's good to be here. So we're glad he's here. But AJ just actually asked a question in that what shipping methods do you use? I'm curious too. I was like, it's fun.
Well, AJ. So I actually have like changed it over the years. So I used the first time I ever like shipped something out, like it was written. Okay. Now, like that was like when I was 6 years old and like didn't know what I was doing. Now like because I have like multiple orders at once, it's easier to buy my shipping labels online on like Shippo or like Pirate Ship or something and like print them out. And I have like a little like shipping label printer. And that's like the biggest way. And so I just use USPS and I just drop it off. And so I don't have to wait in those long lines at the post office in my small town of Clemson, South Carolina. And it's a lot easier, like the convenience of it as well. I guess that's the question that he was asking.
Yeah, because obviously, I mean, it's just, I mean, for all small businesses, I like, let me just do a PSA, like support small businesses, comment on their posts, like their Instagram. I was like, hype them up because, I mean, I was like, you're just one of many young entrepreneurs. Like
I'm doing this all alone. Like people always are like, I can come help you. And I'm like, I would love the help, but like honestly, like I've been doing it alone for a hot minute now. Like I think I got it, but it's still hard.
I was like, there's definitely
like I'm like every single like part of a business.
Yeah.
Like I'm the marketer, like I'm the person that ships it, like I'm the one that runs like my social media, like I'm a social media manager, like I like run my website, like I do like those 4 I just listed are like 4 people in like a normal business, usually teams, but I'm just like doing it all by myself.
Yeah.
Like if that doesn't make you want to support small businesses, I don't know what does.
Yeah. So I was like, everyone listening, do your part. I was like, support small businesses, comment on the Insta post because so much work goes into it. You just said that, I mean, you are just bringing such great insight to this conversation. I know a lot of people are going to benefit from it. But you just made so many excellent points. One being like, you are every single person. Like in what would normally be a huge team, you're everyone. And then additionally, especially in this climate, we are combating so many supply chain constraints. So how do you maintain like transparency with your customers and with all your customers? How do you maintain transparency and visibility when you are having so many external factors, whether that be the supply chain constraints, you just being one person, you being a student? How do you maintain that transparency and visibility since you are growing?
I guess a huge part is like not everyone uses social media. Not everyone checks their email. Not everyone like does this or that. And like being clear, concise, and giving the same message to like all forms, like all like parts of it. Like if I need to be checking my email daily because I will have customers like emailing me and be like, where is my piece? Like, where is my jewelry? And I'm like, well, I can check for you because I have like tracking numbers. Like I make sure everything is tracked and like things get lost and like there's nothing on my end that I did anything wrong and nothing on their end that they did anything wrong. It's just the supply chain, but
She's beautiful, but she's imperfect. I'll give it to
she
her.
is imperfect. Yes. Yeah. So a huge thing I have to do is like be really clear and be like, this piece, like it's the tracking number says it is nowhere to be found, but I can send you a new thing. And like, as well as like checking like direct messages on social medias as well. And replying to all comments and like posting pictures and be like, hey, like I've had a really busy week and I just want to be clear with y'all that like it may take a couple days or like I'm on vacation and I can't mail y'all's pieces like right now or like, you know what I mean? Like just being very, very clear on all platforms that like, that I'm imperfect as well, just like the supply chain, and just like have some grace with that.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree. I mean, especially like in this age where we expect like a very efficient, fast, convenient based supply chain, we have to be mindful that not all supply chains are going to be at the level of like Amazon or Walmart, and that there's often a lot of value in supporting a smaller, more sustainable supply chain. Because I was like, I personally have ordered from you, and I know a huge conversation we have is just about like packaging and how sometimes it's like one itty bitty package in like this huge box. And I think you do a great job of like keeping your packaging to be nice and concise and just the size it needs to be. But in a moment, we're about to watch some TikToks we have. But before that, I want to know what advice you would share to anyone, regardless of their age, regardless of where they are, about either starting their own business or just pursuing their dreams in general. What advice do you have?
So advice I have is literally just do it. That is just my like entrepreneurship side of myself is like I have so many hobbies. I have so many ideas all the time, and all I ever want to do is just start another business. My friends like to joke with me that like I could have like 5 businesses like running at the same time if I could, but I cannot. But I always like have so many ideas and I wish I could just do it. And like don't be afraid of what people think. Like I was 16 years old. Like I really knew nothing. I knew nothing about shipping. I knew nothing about the supply chain. I knew nothing about even creating jewelry. Like I had no money. I had no job. Like simply just like do it and like everything will just follow. I really think that if you have an idea, pursue it because you have one life. You might as well. YOLO.
YOLO. Well, I love that. I think you're definitely using your strengths. And you're making a beautiful product. You're just using your strengths so well. You're being brave, you're being courageous. And so I know all of our audience, our whole audience, everyone who's listening to this, like we all have our own set of strengths. So definitely use them, chase your dreams. And we are going to be so excited to watch everyone just achieve everything they see themselves doing. But now we have some TikToks to watch. If y'all don't know, we Let's Talk Supply Chain love TikTok. So make sure you follow our TikTok account. And also create TikToks and make sure you tag us at Let's Talk Supply Chain. But this one is one that Julia made for Julia Grace Jewelry, and it just shows the wholesale order boutique process. And I think it's really cool just to watch. Sorry, there's no sound. We just can't hear it. And then this one is of me. I apologize for my bad dancing, but it highlights some really awesome benefits of packaging, which I think you do a great job with your packaging. It's super cute. It's sustainable. And I just think it's a really good job. And there's a lot of great benefits to packaging. It's so much more than just a case for your stuff. It's for information. It's to be cute. And so those are our TikToks. So make sure everyone you follow our TikTok account at Let's Talk Supply Chain, where the mouse is going. And also, if you're interested in creating TikToks, let us know. We'd love to bring everyone into the Let's Talk Supply Chain world. It's a fun place to be. So make sure you post your TikTok, tag at Let's Talk Supply Chain, and we would love to post you on this show and on our TikTok channel as well. And then additionally, I'd like just to say thank you a moment to Ships and Let's Talk Supply Chain. I actually wore my Let's Talk Supply Chain shirt today, but my overalls block it. But Let's Talk Supply Chain, thank you for sponsoring this event. Make sure you connect with Julia on her LinkedIn account, and also shop Julia Grace Jewelry. It is a beautiful business. Julia is using her strength. She's killing it. And then just before we leave, Julia, is there any last thoughts that you want to share with our audience? Anything that's super important that you've just learned, or you just have any takeaways?
Yeah, I want to really emphasize what I just said earlier about if you have a business, and you have a business idea, pursue your dreams. I wish that I even thought about this sooner. I love creating things, and I wish that when I was younger that I just pursued it even further. Or even now, I think sometimes I get in a funk and I'm I don't want to do it right now. I don't even want to think about Jewelry Grace Jewelry. I don't want to go to this event, but I just push yourself, and you'll see the fruit and the benefits of it. And it's really not about how much money you make. It is truly just about the joy that you get from it. If creating something, or your business doesn't have to be creating at all. Just if you get joy from it, then do it.
I love that. And I think you mentioned something that I just think is the perfect way to end this conversation. Is it's hard, chasing your dreams, starting a business, or whether that is a business or not, chasing your dreams is really, really hard. There's a lot of obstacles we overcome. But at the end of the day, it is all worth it. I know we all have our own strengths, our own visions, and we all have the ability to make it possible. So I hope our audience, I know I really, really enjoyed this conversation. Julie, I think you provided such great insight that our whole audience is going to really take away from. Whether you are our age, older or younger, chase your dreams. You can do it. But thank you to our audience for joining us today. I thought this conversation was so good. But make sure you connect with me, Julia, and Let's Talk Supply Chain on LinkedIn and TikTok. Shop her store. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining. This was Coming in Hot, and it was Julia. Thank you so much for joining. It was so good. It was a great conversation. So have a great week, everyone. It was so good seeing you.